Kelowna Foodie Hub. Today we're at Lakehouse Kitchens and Cooking School, and we have Tuugu here, and we are going to be learning about doing some fun summer cocktails.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what cocktails are we doing today?
All right, so today we're going to be doing a cocktail. This is actually pulled from one of my recipe packets for the series of Master Mixology, and this particular one is titled the Tiki Time.
Oh, Tiki
So
Time.
it is a tiki tropical inspired cocktail class.
Okay.
And today we're going to be doing something that is very much a cousin of Jungle Bird.
What's a jungle bird?
So Jungle Bird is a newer cocktail, let's say.
Okay.
It only debuted to a recipe booklet in the late 90s, but it was apparently invented in the 70s. But you can never be too sure.
So many good
when
things
cocktail
come out
was
of the
invented.
90s and the 70s, so we'll go with these.
Pretty much, yeah, around that time. And this cocktail actually gained a lot of traction in the cocktail industry, as you know, some bars even named after this cocktail. Some in New York City and some in Sacramento, California. So
I might have to go to New York and find these bars.
Okay, I'll join you.
Okay, and what ingredients go into it?
So this is a very much a tiki-inspired cocktail, so all of the tropical island vibes.
Okay.
But we're going to put our own little kick, and then we're going to do this cocktail as a celebration to the beginning of summer, aka a camping season.
Oh,
because we're going to be making some roasted marshmallow just over our cocktail.
You're going to put roasted marshmallow over top of a cocktail.
I bet you've never had it, but
I
it's going to be
have
delicious.
never had a roasted marshmallow over a cocktail, so how do we do it?
All right, so our spirits, we need a some type of rum. Traditionally, it's made with blackstrap rum or black rum, which is a rum that is has an inclusion of late stage of molasses, which gives it that black color as well as the richness.
Oh.
Today, I'm using a rum from Nicaragua, which is in Central America.
Okay.
And it's typically a little bit lighter and more delicate compared to a Jamaican rum.
Well, I've been to Nicaragua a handful of times. My dad used to work there, and he promised me if I moved there, he'd buy me a monkey. So I was like so on board. I was like picking my school, I'm like, that's where I'm going.
Good.
But everyone in Nicaragua seems like they're also having a very good time, so maybe that is why the rum.
Good. Well,
Okay.
we're about to have a better time because we have a Nicaraguan rum.
Okay.
This rum is actually butter washed, so I've clarified butter and then I browned that butter. So we have those, you know, the cookie brown sugary flavor to it, just to add a little bit of that richness because we're not using a blackstrap rum. So I'm including that via the fat of that butter as well as some molasses that's in my cane syrup.
I feel like this is like baking with like the molasses and the brown sugar, like the
100%.
brown butter and everything.
Actually, somebody has commented that this drink tastes like you're having a pancake with maple syrup with a cup of coffee on the side. Which is, come on, you can't go wrong with it.
This is like the perfect Canadian breakfast.
Absolutely.
Coffee and pancakes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And we also
rum.
have a overproof rum.
Okay.
So overproof rum is any type of overproof spirit in general. It just has an alcohol volume of 50% or more.
So that's the overproof part.
That's the overproof part.
Okay.
So we want to utilize this for my garnishing part or that campfire part because we want to create a fire on top of our
Well,
cocktail.
50% is going to taste like fire.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a
This
good
one's actually
time.
70, so it's very
No
flamey.
way.
It's going to be good.
Okay.
And then a little humble Campari. So this is going to be the source of the bitterness that we want in our cocktail to balance out. Additionally, we have a little bit of pineapple juice here.
Okay.
And some fresh lime. So cocktail is all about balance, I'm sure you know.
I was going to say, no, I don't know.
Okay.
So how do you balance a cocktail?
Yeah, so most cocktails, especially ones with citrus, especially something tiki, we want a balance between bitterness, obviously the spirit being the baseline and carrying all the flavor together. We want sweetness and we want something fresh.
Okay.
So our fresh part is the lime and the pineapple. Sweetness comes from the pineapple as well as our sugar. And then the bitterness comes from the Campari.
So I'm a mixologist now.
Yeah, you're a mixologist now. And you're about to actually make some of this.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
This is very exciting.
So we're going to start with our liquor.
Okay.
Typically in bartending, you want to start with the ingredient that is the cheapest.
Okay.
So that if you mess it up, you're not actually wasting so much.
Okay.
Especially if you are just starting to bartend or just mix up some drinks. I would do that just so you know.
So just in case.
It's better for the wallet and better for the environment.
Yes, I did that with baking, but I started with shortbread, and that was a huge mistake. Because like I lost like 6 pounds of butter, and I was like, okay, so now after I sell these cookies, I'm not even gonna make any money.
No, butter is expensive in this economy.
Yes, it is. No, absolutely not. And alcohol, we just never want to waste.
No, and we have alcohol and butter in here, so.
Oh, yeah, so double whammy. Okay.
So I'm not gonna
how much
shake
should we
this
put
up.
in?
We've got some of the solids in here.
Okay.
There's still some solids of fat in here, which we wanna avoid a little bit. but it'd be okay. It will add that nice, smooth richness to our cocktail. So I want you to measure out 1.5 ounce.
1.5 ounce.
Of
okay.
that.
So on the inside here.
In our jigger here, you have the lines. The bottom one's 1/2 ounce.
Okay.
And then the third line is 1 ounce.
Okay.
And then the one above is 1.5. So that's what we're aiming for.
I love going to the top. That's
great.
Perfect.
Well, I mean, if you want a little more and have a better time, you can.
Oh, okay.
You know, it just depends on what kind of a time you're looking to have.
We're gonna have a really good time.
Absolutely.
Which cup am I going
Let's
into?
start with the small one here.
Okay.
We'll build our drink in this, and then we'll shake up by using both of our tin here.
And you can buy this at Lakehouse.
100%, yeah.
For sure.
Anything that we have in our Lakehouse facility that we get our guests to use, you can buy it. Because we want you to test out the things that you're looking to buy, or, you know, some things that really just make your life easier that you never thought that existed, but then once you try it, you're like, I don't want to live without it.
I don't want to live without it. I can't live without it. Okay, so this is one of the things.
All right, so we've got our butter wash rum here.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. We'll maybe put this out of the way. Oh, and just to mention, we have a little olives as our snack. It's always recommended that you have some kind of snack with you whenever you make some beverages. You know?
Olives are my favorite snack.
Great, perfect.
I have to say, if they were blue cheese filled, they'd be a little better.
Oh, okay. I'll remember for next time.
That's okay.
All right. And then we're going to do Campari.
Okay.
We don't want to put too much because it will take away from the different notes that we're trying to add.
Okay.
So we'll go with 1/2 ounce, which is the first bottom line.
First line, see?
Yeah,
just like
there
that.
you go. You're almost getting it.
I'm
You're
getting
there.
it.
You're going to be
You
a
can
pro
hire
mixologist.
me after
okay.
this.
Let me know if you're
so going in?
for a job. Yes.
There we are.
Perfect.
Okay.
Now let's hit it with the pineapple juice.
Pineapple juice.
So this is pre-measured, 1.5 ounces of pineapple juice. Originally, this had almost 4 ounces of pineapple juice, so it was more like a high volume, tall glass, refreshing cocktail.
Okay.
But we want to turn this into more of a complex sipper.
Okay.
Because I like when guests are excited about their cocktail from the first sip to the very last sip.
Yes.
And I hate when somebody gets bored off of the drink in the middle of drinking it.
It's true.
Yeah, so
we don't like it.
We want to make it a little more interesting and a little bit more complex. So we're gonna go with pineapple juice.
Okay, pour it in.
Perfect.
Smells amazing.
Oh yeah,
Smells
pineapple
like
juice
fresh
is
pineapple.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's all about tropical.
Yeah, and
You
you know
can't
I'm
imagine without it.
tropical flavors.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Okay.
We're gonna go with lime.
Okay.
Let's freshly squeeze the lime here. Freshly squeezed is superior to any other form of citrus juice.
Why?
You can always buy pre-bottled juices, and it's
Okay.
fine if you have to use it, but fresh juice citrus, once you expose it to oxygen,
Okay.
it starts to react, and then it gets more malic-y. So if you've ever had malic acid on its own, where it's super tart, more like cranberry tart, and then the longer it sits with oxygen, the more tart it gets, and you lose all of that freshness.
Oh.
So if you ever tried old lemon juice and you try it and it's just like oof of just sourness,
Yeah.
we want to kind of avoid that. We're looking for freshness. Obviously the sour tart part is great to balance out the cocktail, but we're looking for more of that freshness rather than that super tart flavor.
Okay, especially, so am I putting this way or this way?
That's correct. So always face down in these
down
pressers,
and
even
press
though it
down.
looks like it might be
Yeah, I
the
thought
other
it
way.
looked like it
Yeah.
would sit nice. I don't want to do it injustice.
We'll probably squeeze out 2 halves and then measure out 1/2 ounce.
So take it out.
Take it out.
Do
add
more.
another one.
I love the smell of fresh lime.
it's great.
So good.
And then the aromas of any citrus actually comes from the skin itself. So any citrus, if you ever see it, has little pores like how our skin are, and that contains little glands of oil, which are essential oils.
Okay.
So if you ever seen bartenders, get a peel of orange and then spritz it over their cocktail, they're actually expressing the oils out of the peels. And we want to utilize it because that's where the aroma and the smell of the citrus lives. But it doesn't have that tartness. So that is purely for your nose. Whenever you garnish your cocktail, you utilize the peel, and that is to polish up your palate by via your nose.
And get all the senses in
all
there.
the senses, and it activates it.
Yeah, and you taught me to rub the lemon actually on the bottom of the stem of the glass,
Yeah,
right?
and that's for our nose. So once you take your cocktail to have a first sip, before you even taste the cocktail, you actually get the aroma of it, which it polishes your palate and it prepares you for the flavors you're about to get.
Okay, all right. So we have the lime.
All right, so let's measure out 1/2 ounce. I think
Okay,
we know
any
where
more?
1/2 ounce is. I think this is enough. It looks like it's gonna be
Enough?
1/2 ounce. Yeah. So let's measure out now sugar. Always measure every single ingredients because we're looking for the perfect
you're
ratio
right.
here.
It would have been over.
That's great.
Okay, so
That's
perfect.
good.
So I take it.
We're gonna go with that.
I pour it in.
So now we have our spirit, we've got the bitterness, we've got the freshness, and a little bit of sweetness, but we need a touch more sweetness to balance everything out. So we're gonna go with cane sugar syrup.
Okay.
So this is just a rich, simple syrup of cane sugar, and I added a dash of molasses for the molasses that we're missing out.
So you can just make this?
100%.
How do you make it?
I would go with 2 parts sugar to 1 part water.
Okay.
So in a pot, bring about 2 cups of sugar of your choice to 1 cup of water, and then you bring it to a boil.
Okay.
And just turn the heat off and let it cool down.
Oh, easy.
Make sure you don't stir it, otherwise it crystallizes.
Okay.
But that's the same for any kind of simple syrup. You can also go with just 1-to-1 ratio. That is a traditional simple syrup. But I want more of that viscosity to add texture to our cocktail.
Okay, I'm gonna make this at home now.
Yeah, you should.
That's
It's
great.
super
Okay,
easy.
how much am I adding?
Half an ounce.
Half an ounce.
Yes.
Okay.
And then if you do like your drink sweeter, you can always add more. A lot of the recipes in my mixology courses are a good base bone for any cocktail, so you can kind of tweak it to your liking, but it is always recommended that whenever you get a recipe, always try it out as is.
Yes.
Then you can make an adjustment. Don't assume that it needs an adjustment. Always try it out first.
Okay, and you offer mixology classes?
I do, yeah.
Okay, so tell me about it. I didn't even know this.
Yeah, so we have a few different themes. This Saturday I actually have margaritas and more, so that's all about tequila and mezcal.
I love tequila.
It's a whole sold out class. I believe I have 19 people coming in on a Saturday afternoon.
That's amazing.
And it's typically always a lot of fun. Our other staff gets super jealous.
Yes, I
because,
imagine.
we're just laughing the whole time.
And having margaritas.
100%, yeah. And most guys, they get together and go to a bar all together.
Okay.
Yeah,
so go into Lakehouse Cooking School, and you can sign up for the mixology courses.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now I have a little taste of it. I'm like, I want to
For sure,
do this.
yeah,
because
because this is the last drink you make in the tiki cocktail class.
Okay, so
Yeah.
jumping right to the end.
For
Okay,
sure.
so we have all of our things in here.
We have all our things in here. Now we're looking to shake it up. So any cocktail that has a citrus typically needs to be shaken. Any cocktail that doesn't have a citrus, you stir it. Because if it has a citrus, we want to really add enough motion in there to kind of bind all the ingredients together.
Okay.
And that's also the reason why we add sugar to our cocktails. I'm not necessarily looking to sweeten it too much, but the sugar, the properties of it, it kind of binds all the ingredients together. So when you take a sip of your cocktail, it tastes of one drink rather than a few different ingredients put together and shaken up.
So you're like a chemist.
A little bit. I like to call myself a beverage maker.
Okay.
But we also, as we sit in a cooking school, we do keep in mind of, all culinary science things that is proven to be right.
Yeah.
And if you do follow it, it is definitely going to make your beverage better.
Okay, well, I want better beverages, so
right.
I will follow it.
We're going to go with ice in here. Now, when we shake up our cocktail, obviously we're looking to cool it down and mix everything together, but more so we're looking to texture our cocktail by incorporating air.
Oh, okay.
It's similar to steaming milk for coffee.
Yes.
But when we shake it, in our shaker tin, there's going to be air as well as our cocktail. So when we shake it up, those little air gets trapped into the wet molecules.
Okay.
So that, when you take a sip, those little air bubbles burst in your palate. Hence, you get more of the flavor, even though you're not adding more, but you get more of it.
That is so neat.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
All right, we're going to seal this up.
Okay.
And it's quite important because if you don't seal it up, you'll get showered by a bit of a cocktail and you'll be sticky for the rest of the day. I've done that a few times.
A few times.
Yeah.
More than we care to admit.
Yeah, I know. I would love to avoid it, but it just happens sometimes.
It happens.
So to do that, we're going to make one straight line.
Okay.
And leave this groovy line in here.
Okay.
To make it easier for us to unseal it at the end.
Okay.
I'm going to give this a tap, but I'm going to get you to shake it up.
I get to shake it. Okay.
Yes. So right palm on there, left palm on there.
Okay.
And keep your shaker tin horizontal.
Okay.
Is that horizontal or vertical?
This is horizontal.
There you go.
Okay. I was so focused on not spraying myself. I was like, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah. The reason why we do that is just to create more motion in there. So we're looking to create a little loop inside our shaker tin.
Okay.
And that helps with the aeration part.
Okay,
and
so
we're
like
going to
this?
go until it gets quite cold, yes. And give it a good squeeze so it doesn't open up.
Okay,
Yes.
squeeze.
And make as much motion as possible.
Oh.
There you go. Even a little more. Yeah. You should do more than you think you need. Almost until your whole body jiggles a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can skip an arm workout whenever you do a cocktail, which is a plus.
Okay, that's a
Yeah,
plus.
it's good.
It sounds great.
Yeah. And then you can kind of tell when it's ready once it starts condensing.
You should do it too, so they can see the expert shake rather than me.
Okay. Well, let's just show you. If you ever want to use one hand.
Okay.
Use these two fingers on one tin and the other on the other two.
Okay.
And just keeping it together, just in case if it opens up, you can hold it together.
Okay.
And then I'm just wanna give it a good shake.
Oh,
not
see,
too
it's
heavy.
the circle.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
And then you can feel my whole body jiggling.
Okay.
But we're gonna stop shaking it because we don't want to over dilute it.
Okay.
The whole point about tiki cocktails, obviously tropical flavors, but also the boldness and the robustness of all the flavors that comes together.
Yeah.
So tiki cocktails are typically very bold in flavor as opposed to being mellow.
I like bold in flavor when it comes to cocktails.
Especially in the summer. Come on.
Yeah, especially.
So we don't want to introduce too much water into our cocktail.
Okay.
Now,
yes.
This is ready to be poured into our glass here.
Okay.
I'm gonna get my glassware. This is a double rocks glass.
Okay.
You can use whatever glassware you want, but I want to serve this over ice.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with ice in my glass first.
Okay.
Reason being, we want to pour our drink over the ice as opposed to drink first and then top it with ice. Because when you top it with ice and you take your first sip, you actually taste the ice before you taste the drink itself.
And we don't want that.
We don't want that.
No,
it
doesn't sound very good.
So we're gonna pour our drink directly over this.
Okay.
I have two types of strainer.
Okay.
This is a Hawthorne strainer. This is to keep all of the larger ice cubes inside the tin so it doesn't fall into our glass.
Okay.
But I also have a mesh strainer. So this is to capture all the little shards of ice that got created from the motion by shaking it and bumping it
from
into
us
the walls.
jiggling.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Because that, first of all, it dilutes really quickly, so
Yes.
your drink gets watery too quickly.
don't want that.
But also, who wants to chew on little piece of ice when you
Yeah,
drink
no,
your
I just want to
cocktail?
sip my cocktail.
so we're
Look
not
pretty
worried.
while I do it.
Pour over.
Wow.
And then the color is obviously from the pineapple and the Campari and a little bit of the butter.
That's
Top it
beautiful.
up. Perfect. We can get rid of this.
People would be so impressed if you did this in your home. Think about it. It came
You
over
would
for
be.
like a
Yeah.
barbecue and you start bringing out all
It
your
would be a
ingredients.
good party stopper, you know?
Yeah, it
it's to
would.
keep it going. It would be a good welcome beverage if you're ever
Yeah.
hosting a party.
Okay,
Yeah.
good welcome bedroom. So are we putting any garnish on top?
Yes, now the fun part.
Oh, this is the fun part.
So let's go with one thing first. So I have a beautiful bunch of fresh thyme, or thyme, if you will.
Thyme.
This actually comes from the urban garden of the wife of our culinary director, Chef B's wife, Bonnie. Thanks to her.
Really?
She supplies us with the best homegrown fresh herbs.
Well, big shout out to Bonnie.
For
Shout
sure.
out to Bonnie. Thank you so
100%, yeah.
much for
I even
giving us
have
the
two
fresh
tomato
herbs.
plants at home that she gave
Really?
us, and it's been great. I haven't yet to see tomatoes, but I'm hoping to.
You will, and fresh tomatoes are the
100%.
best.
Oh, they're great.
They're so,
So this is some thyme.
okay, fine.
I'm gonna get about this much. And again, this is obviously our garnishes for the look itself of the
Okay.
cocktail, but it's more for your nose.
Okay.
Again, when
You
take
play a
sip,
lot to the nose.
palate, yeah. And I'm gonna give it a good generous slap.
Okay.
And the reason why we do this, or if you ever see aggressively, somebody slapping herbs, it's not for show. It is actually just to activate and release the oils from our herb, so you get more of that aroma.
Okay.
So everything that we're doing has a little bit of a reason, and I'm just gonna
There's a reason and a
gently lay
rhyme.
it in there.
Oh, that's beautiful.
All right, and now the second component of the garnish part.
Yes.
I have a little lime powder. So this is basically a powder version of lime.
Okay.
I take some lime peels as well as the pulp, splits
Okay.
it up, and dehydrate it, so it turns into like a fruit leatherish. And
Okay.
you dry it completely, and then you blitz it up, and it turns into this powder.
How
and,
would people do that at home? Dehydrate lime.
Your oven. So
Your oven,
set
okay.
your oven to the lowest setting it goes.
Okay.
Ideally around 130 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
And then you can take little whole limes. You can
Okay.
juice them, and then take the rest of it and put it into a Vitamix or any kind of blender you have. But Vitamix is the best.
Okay.
We do salad here.
We do salad, of
Yeah,
course. Like
aisle
as our
six.
top
Yeah.
everything.
And then just let it go until it's fully dry.
Okay.
For limes, it typically takes about 4 to 6 hours.
4 to
at
6
180
hours.
Fahrenheit.
So don't stress out if you're
Don't
leaving
stress
the
out too
limes
much,
in
just
there.
leave it.
Just leave it in there.
Yeah.
It's good. Okay.
It's stress-free, hands-free.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then just the powder version, and I just want to top it with a little bit of this. It's like a little lime snow, and that is again for our nose. It just adds a touch of tartness.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah, you
as
can have
well.
a little bit on your hand if you want.
Yeah.
And just like give a little smell. Make sure you don't smell
Smells
too hard,
amazing.
otherwise you'll sneeze.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sneezing all over the place and all of our beautiful drink we just made.
Yeah. All right. So the liquid part of the drink
tart,
is
I like
good. Yeah, it's a little tart.
It is, yeah.
And then this is the vessel for our fire or the campfire. This is just a
Okay.
hollowed out lime here.
Yeah.
I just took a little fork and then just twisted it around. I want to lay this on my drink, and I want this to sit above the rim of the glass here.
Okay.
And into this, I'm going to go with a little touch of sugar, just to help with the fire.
So we're gonna make the
staying
flames on the
We're
drink.
gonna make the flame on the drink. So.
Wow.
And our overproof rum,
Yeah.
with it having higher percentage of alcohol by
Yeah.
volume, is going to help with the igniting part.
Okay, ignition
Yeah.
igniting.
Ignition
okay,
igniting,
so
yeah.
yeah, liquor makes a flame.
There you go.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. I did know
I'm
that
just going
much.
to add this to the top. Now, one thing that you should keep in mind is that ethanol fire or alcohol fire in general, it is almost invisible to the naked eye. And in the daytime, it's really hard to see. So even if you don't see a flame, don't go ahead and put your face in it because you will lose your eyebrows.
That is something I would do. I would absolutely get right up in there and then end up with no eyelashes.
Yeah, so I always like to say to people, you know, make sure the fire is extinguished before you put your face in it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be responsible for eyebrows.
Yeah, we don't responsible. They're expensive to microblade.
I would imagine. Yeah. All right, now all we need to do is light it up. So grab a lighter.
You're going to trust me.
I'm going to trust you.
You don't know me well enough yet.
Oh, you're going to be fine.
Okay, ready?
Keep going. Yep. Perfect. And just lay it over the liquor there. And let's see if we can see a little fire.
Yes.
I hear a little sizzle.
Yes, I see it.
All right. Well, one way to test it is to grab our marshmallow.
It is very naked. He's right. So don't put your eyebrows over it.
You can hardly see it.
Yeah.
And let's put the marshmallow over it and see if it fires up.
Oh my gosh,
I
it's roasting.
I hear a little sizzle. And you know, your marshmallow is going to be a little bit infused with a touch of rum flavor, which is great.
This is great. I actually was a very big marshmallow roaster as a child. I grew up in Kelowna, so camping was very much a big deal for us.
Oh, yeah.
And then never mind, I'm 4 about it.
I actually do like it when this gets burnt.
Okay.
Obviously, the contrast of the colors for the visuals is great. But also when I do roast a marshmallow, I usually just burn the whole thing and peel off that outer layer.
Okay.
And sometimes I eat it, even though it's probably not good for you.
I've eaten it too.
But the inside is like a melted ice creamy warm marshmallow.
Yeah, and it's gooey. Okay, so it's on fire. I'll let it burn.
There you go.
Okay.
And then you can eat it right away, or you can use that as your garnish for your cocktail.
I'll use it as the garnish, I guess. Okay. So do I take the top or
I would leave it on the stick. You can either just lay it here or, I mean, you're going to be drinking this, so you can just pop it in there. Okay. If you're serving it to somebody else, don't put the wooden stick that you've touched into the drink. But
we'd like to be sanitary.
Yeah,
sanitary is very big.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
And
it's on fire.
It is on fire.
Okay, thank you so much for teaching me so much about cocktails.
Of course. Hope you make it.
And I will. And thank you for joining us so much at the Kelowna Foodie Hub, letting us Lakehouse Kitchens at school, and educating us on everything we need to know about enjoying our best summer possible.
Always a pleasure to have them.
Thank you.